In this video, I will be sharing my top 9 favorite abandoned places I explored in 2020. For this driving range and golf shop, I was not able to find any information. I tried very hard, but nothing showed up. But I will say it was pretty cool to explore this place. I went when it was very humid. That's why you kind of see the haziness in the video. I think when I was little, I actually played golf at this place.
So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind.
There's not much history to this location, however, I do know some. Back in the day, this used to be a garden center. It was very pretty. And then most recently, it was owned by a guy who used to make wood carvings with a chainsaw. That was really cool. This house was built in the 1920s. It had three current owners, probably four. That's all I could really find of that. It is owned as a commercial property. I don't know how the trucks got abandoned and all the farm equipment, but it was still a very cool place to check out. This location sold in 1982 for $40K. Founded and owned by President Kevin Lehan in 1986, Ship-Shape Marina had earned a reputation of being quality-driven organization with one-of-a-kind customer service to satisfaction, disclaiming yachtmen. This place went abandoned in 2014.
wash away. Wood and clay will wash away, my fair lady. Build it up with iron and steel, iron and steel, iron and steel. Build it.
Unfortunately, there's no history to this location, but I did read a couple of reviews, which I will share with everybody. Some reviews said there was no running water, there was no place to go to the bathrooms, the restrooms were terrible, it was very trashy, it was run down, and it was not well maintained, and lots of problems at this location. Oakview Pool. Oakview Pool was built right after World War II, but now is crumbling, overgrown, and abandoned. For many years, the pool served the neighborhood, but it's located right next to an elementary school, an area where lots of children live. I'm putting this in quotes. That's not good for the neighborhood. It is certainly not good for the school, unquote. Diana Butts said. The schools closed when the nonprofit organization that operated it ran out of money. The grounds have not been kept. Rainwater sits in the bottom of the pool, and it was broken into and vandalized in August. Some neighbors fear children can get in and get hurt, but the Oakview Recreation Corporation says it has secured the site, monitors it regularly, and water must remain in the pool or its foundation will be ruined. Its corporation says it's in the process of raising $25,000 to make the necessary repairs to the school. Can reopen next May. In the meantime, this is one-time gem will remain a worry for some. Hell House, also known as St. Mary's College. In a wooded area of the town of Ilchester, you'll find a creepy ruins of the St. Mary's College, an eerie ghost town in Maryland. Opened in 1862, it was once a living cemetery for young men training to be priests. Over 100 years later, the number of students began to dwindle until the cemetery was finally shut down in 1972. 10 years later, the site purchased was in interest of being converted into apartments. The proposal failed, leaving the building abandoned. In 1988, another purchaser bought the property but considered had to fence off vandals and curious teenagers as the site had already been given the nickname, quote, Hell House, unquote. On Halloween night in 1997, the building was burned by arsonists. The site was finally demolished in 2006. Evidence of St. Mary's College can still be found in the ruins left behind. Several disturbing tales have circulated about haunting happenings at this location. Well, if you decide whether or not to go, believe the stories. Several sets of stairs still remaining among the trees, some in surprisingly good shape. Many visitors have heard the sounds of footsteps echoing up and down the abandoned stairs. Reports of the feeling, quote, cold spots, unquote, throughout certain areas of the ruins have been reported even in the summer months. A group of young men who were spotted exploring the ruins claimed to have spotted a ghostly figure of a girl. As she approached the group, she revealed her hand towards them. Her eyes began to glow red. The boys immediately fled in fear and later shared their stories, warning others. Many allege that the altar is the location of sacrificial rituals, including animal sacrifices. Some locals believe it was the rituals that conjoined demons to the property. The Enchanted Forest. Opening in 1955, a month after Disneyland, the Enchanted Forest was a roadside amusement park in Ellicott City, Maryland, that featured features from nursery rhymes to fairy tales. Visitors paid less than $2 to clamber through Cinderella's castle, ride through the caves of Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, and take a teacup ride to the underground scenes from Alice in Wonderland. On a large excavated pond, guests rode the little Toot towboat and visited Mount Vesuvius and Jungle Land. After nearly 3 decades of operation, the park grew to over 52 acres, drawing close to 40,000 visitors each summer during its prime in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Unfortunately, the Enchanted Forest began to face tough competition from the roller coaster theme parks that were being built in the Baltimore area. Enthusiasm for low-tech park eventually faded and led to an eventual close in 1989. While the eastern side of the park was bulldozed to allow room for shopping malls, the other half remains untouched. Many of the artifacts were moved to Cloaks Elks Farm, but a few tattered attractions still remain scattered among the bushy undergrowth. Faded cement gingerbread men which once formed a welcome border along Route 40, now crumpled together like crooked tombstones. And the saggy dish with the spoon with the flaky paint and proper against the fence. Update May 2016. Almost every remaining sculpture from the Enchanted Forest Park has been moved from the original site. They are now found on the Elks Cloaks farm at 10500 Clarksville Pike, Ellicott City, which remains at the park site is now mostly rubble and the remains of a flux volcano near a lake and mostly destroyed. Update March 2017. Everything has been removed from the site, and a U storage facility takes up part of the space. Just a little fun fact, I'm glad I went to this place when I was a little kid. I loved the stone walkway, and I still do. Also, I'm glad that they saved the sculptures from this location before they got vandalized. This place brought back a lot of memories when I went to do this video. This neglected 42-room Victorian mansion started as a summer home of Mary Flick Garrett Jacobs, a former Baltimore societist and philanthropist. The property formerly belonged to General John Swan, Mary Jacobs' great-grandfather, as a part of his larger Hunting Ridge estate. Mary Fleck and her husband, Robert Garrett, stayed at their home in Mount Vernon Place between November and Easter and returned to their uplands every spring. In 1885, they hired E. Francis Baldwin, an architect of the B&O Railroad, to renovate the property. Mary continued to use the property as a residence up until her death in 1936, when she left the building to the Episcopal Church. From 1952 to 1986, the estate served as the Uplands Home for Church Women. In the early 1990s, New Baptist Church acquired the property and incorporated the historic building into a new church. The church had been demolished, but the house still stands at the center of the recent development Uplands community. Unfortunately, on October 31st, 2023, somebody set this beautiful mansion on fire. It is very heartbreaking. This house was built in 1884 by Enoch and Mary Talton. Enoch Talton was a Civil War veteran and Washington lawyer. Mary Talton was extremely wealthy as her father was Timothy Howe, a senator of Wisconsin, was the cousin of her heirs, Alice Howe, known for perfecting the sewing machine. Alice Howe also created the Bobby Winter, which inspired the namesake of the house. Originally, Winterbourne was painted pink, completing with dark rose trimming. The Taltons had a love for gardening and staffing gardeners year-round to maintain the exotic plants they imported from around the world. Many locals believe the house is to be haunted, and because part of this is because of the infamous tragedy that occurred there. All three of the Talton children contracted Tyloff fever, likely from drinking contaminated drinking water. One of the children died from this. Another daughter, Edith Talton, who became a doctor, adopted a daughter of her own, who died after sliding down the long banister in the house and likely falling off. In 1929, the house saw a change of ownership to Edward and Ruth Paulrick. Their son, Edward Paulrick Jr., inherited the house and stayed there until his death in 2004. His brother, Paxton Powell, had been attempting to sell the long decaying property for years, to no avail. The house is currently abandoned and has no plans of restoration. This site is a photographer's dream. The property is 9 acres with several old muscle cars in the backyard, along with spawning trees and flowers. It is also located right up against the Black Hills Regional Park, with a great view of the water. The interior of the house is littered with old furniture, letters, magazines, and old clothing. The property was sold in November of 2021. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and also don't forget to hit the notification button so you'll know when new videos get released.